Yeah, well, this week we decided to catch up with the Brisbane Lions. They're an improving group. Jack, you've got them this week, so that'll be interesting to see how that game goes down.
I'll be watching closely here.
Did they offer you a contract, the Lions?
I'm not sure. No, I'm not sure.
Well, we caught up with National Talent Manager Rob Kerr, and the first question I asked him was basically, where is their list positioned at the moment?
We're of the view that we've got to get a lot of games into some of our more promising young players, and come perhaps 2016 we should be getting enough games into a big enough group that we can compete at a pretty high level in the finals, obviously.
You have some great running players in the group at the moment, very, very young. Was that done by design, or is just that the way that it's worked out through the drafting process?
No, I think that's by design. In my own career, probably reasonably heavily influenced by working with Kevin Sheedy for a couple of years, who really did promote running height when he was a coach at Essendon. I quite like that concept, and also another Sheedy influence is flexibility, players who have the capacity to play a number of roles.
Rob, with the list management process these days, how many people are involved in the decision making, and both from a list management point of view and a recruiting point of view?
Yeah, well, our structure is we have, as talent manager, I sort of sit across three areas, which is our academy, which the Brisbane Lions have, along with clubs like the Swans, GWS and Gold Coast. Then the recruiting team, I work with those guys just to really manage that function. And then obviously the TPP is an important part of your list management as well. At the upper level, in terms of the high level discussions about contracts and the like, you're obviously in contact with your footy manager, Dean Warren, and the coach. They have a fair say in changes to the list and the like. And then the recruiting team, most of whom are based in Melbourne with people in the various states. We work pretty closely all through the year, but those guys are doing a lot of the hard yards in terms of watching talent and trying to filter through who's likely to be on our list come draft day.
One of the good news stories around this football club at the moment has been Pierce Hanley. Can you just tell us and take us through some of his development?
Yeah, I can't take any credit for that because he was before my time, but Graham Allen and his recruiting team before me obviously identified Pierce through one of the Irish scouts they had on board, and got him across to Australia, and my understanding is Craig Lambert had put a bit of time into him along with other development coaches. But I did it when I arrived. Pierce was playing predominantly state league football with the club, and he just I think almost a switch went off in his head in terms of wanting to really commit and become a professional athlete. And from that time on, 2010 on, he's really worked very hard at his game. And he's just, the thing that often stands out about the Irish boys when you watch them play their own game is their running ability and their running patterns and the like. And Pierce has brought that into AFL football and extended upon it. And the great attribute he does have is he's a lovely kick.
We have to go back to the 2009 year, the Brendan Vavola situation. Not so much about what happened then, because it's been well covered, but how much does that impact the footy club?
Yeah, well, you really do have to look closely at what the impact is longer term. I suppose one of the key things with my role is to really have that 3 to 5 year time horizon and be aware of, well, how is that decision likely to impact down the track. I mean, at the time, the club obviously felt that we weren't far away, and I think the year before Brisbane had made the finals with again a reasonably young group, but the feeling was we needed to add some muscle and bulk to the group to be competitive the next year and for seasons beyond. Now, obviously, football-wise, Brendan obviously had plenty of ability. There were some things that didn't work out, and obviously you can't foresee that at the time.
The NEAFL competition is only in its infancy. How have you found it, and how's it been for obviously being able to get a great news story like Dane Zorko out of that system?
It's producing some players. Dane obviously had been around and won best and fairest at Broadbeach, and we went to watch Niall McKeever, who's on our list, play a game for Queensland against Western Australia, and Dane had a standout game and really showed some great AFL attributes. So followed him from there. Other players who've made their spot way onto AFL list, Tom Bell and Adam Oxley to Collingwood. So it's producing a few players, but I think if we can tighten it up a little bit and concentrate the capability and the talented players into fewer clubs, it'll be even better.
Rob, thanks very much for your time today, and good luck for the future for the Lions.
Great, thanks very much, Terry.
So where I see this group out of Hutchie at the moment, really good rucks, a couple of first round ruck choices for the future, got some fantastic running players, just a key position or two just to go with that, and it's coming along quite
The
nicely.
Revolt signature would have been nice, wouldn't it?
I think that would have been just the absolute icing on the cake that the Tigers needed.
Would have rounded them off, but he stayed at the Tigers. Good call too.